So is AI actually creative? I mean, that's one of the biggest questions out there right now, isn't it? You see all this AI-generated art and music and poetry, and the hype is just off the charts. But what's really going on? Is it just a super smart parrot, or is there some genuine spark of creativity in there? Let's, really dig in and see what the science has to say.
This whole debate really exploded when models like GPT-4 hit the scene. The companies behind them were making some pretty bold claims about their creative genius. And that got a bunch of researchers thinking, okay, hold on, can we take these claims out of the marketing brochure and actually put them to the test in a lab?
And right there, that's the real problem, isn't it? Creativity just feels so personal, so subjective, kind of magical even. But if you want to compare a person to a machine, you need a hard number. You need some kind of objective test. So how on earth did scientists figure out a way to measure the unmeasurable? To get to an answer, researchers had to really zero in on one specific, testable part of what we call creativity. They needed a method that would work just as well for a person sitting at a desk as it would for a massive AI running on a server somewhere.
And that special component is something called divergent thinking. Basically, it's your brain's knack for branching out, for taking a single idea and exploring tons of different, unique possibilities. It's not about finding the one right answer. It's about how many different, wacky, and varied ideas you can come up with.
So to measure this, they use this incredibly simple but really clever test. It's called the Divergent Association Task, or DAT for short. The rules are super easy. Just list 10 words that are as unrelated to each other as you can possibly think of. Then, a computer measures what's called the semantic distance between them, which is really just a fancy way of saying how different the words are in meaning. And that gives you your creativity score.
And this example just makes it all click, right? A low-scoring list might look like this: cat, dog, pet, animal, fur. See how they're all clustered around the same idea? But a high-scoring list, whoa, labyrinth, microscope, freedom, symphony, whisper. You can just feel how those words are pulled from completely different corners of the mind. That is a high score in divergent thinking.
Okay, so now we've got our test. The stage is set. The researchers gave the DAT to a massive group, we're talking 100,000 people, and put their scores head-to-head with some of the world's most powerful AIs. So let's see what happened.
All right, so the first big finding from the study is kind of a shocker. Check this out. The top AI, GPT-4, didn't just meet the human average, it actually beat it by a pretty wide margin. That's right, on this specific test of creativity, the machine outperformed the average person.
But here's the twist, and it's a really important one. While the AI is better than average, it's a totally different ballgame when you look at the most creative people. This chart shows that even the absolute best AI couldn't get close to the scores from the top 50%, let alone the top 10% of human thinkers. It seems like there's this ceiling of human creativity that AI just can't break through, at least not yet.
So, why is there this gap? Well, the data shows a really fascinating difference in strategy. GPT-4 basically found a set of really high-scoring words and just used them over and over. Get this, the word microscope showed up in 70% of its responses. For humans, the most common word was car, and it appeared in just over 1% of answers. The AI optimizes for the best answer, while humans naturally diversify.
And that observation leads to another huge insight. An AI's creativity isn't this fixed inherent thing. It's more like a setting, a dial you can turn. Let's take a look at how that works.
The researchers found they could literally just turn a dial and make the AI more creative. There's this internal setting called temperature that controls randomness. At low temperatures, the AI plays it safe, giving you predictable answers. But as you can see here, when they cranked that temperature up, the AI's word choices got way more unpredictable, and its creativity score just shot right up.
And it's not just some hidden setting, either. It turns out just the way you ask the question can make a huge difference. By simply adding a little instruction to the prompt, like telling it to use words with different origins, the AI would adopt a whole new strategy and its score would jump. Just like that.
So what this all boils down to is a really crucial point. An AI's creativity isn't some deep, mysterious quality it possesses. It's a variable. It's an output that can be directly controlled and manipulated through the settings and instructions we give it.
Okay, let's pull all these threads together. After this deep dive into the minds of both humans and machines, what's the final verdict?
So here are the main things you should walk away with. First, on this specific test, top AIs are indeed more creative than the average Joe. Second, but the most creative humans are still in a completely different league. Third, we're now calling this gap the human creativity ceiling. And fourth, and maybe most importantly, AI's creativity can be dialed up and down. It's a setting, not a soul.
So what does this all mean for the future of, creative jobs? Well, the researchers themselves have a pretty clear take on it. They say that even though AI is this incredibly powerful tool, the fears about it replacing creative professionals are, in their words, premature. It really suggests the future isn't about us being replaced, but about us evolving, using AI as a co-pilot for brainstorming, while we humans still provide that crucial layer of taste, context, and vision that still sets us apart.
And maybe that's the real story here. The most interesting question isn't about who wins in a creative showdown, it's about what happens when we team up. When you combine the unbelievable consistency of an AI with the beautiful, unpredictable diversity of the human mind, well, what amazing new things could we create together?